Echoes of the void. The vast emptiness of space stretched before Rowan Sinclair like an infinite canvas of darkness, punctuated only by the soft hum of the salvage vessel's quantum drive. His fingers danced across the holographic interface, scanning the debris field that had become his workplace for the past 3 solar cycles. A routine mission disrupted. Rowan had seen his fair share of abandoned shipping lanes and forgotten cargo routes, but something about this particular sector felt different. The wreckage seemed almost deliberate, fragments arranged in a pattern that defied random destruction. His intuition, honed by years of salvage operations, began to tingle. "Sentinel, run a comprehensive scan," he commanded the ship's AI. The holographic display flickered, revealing intricate details of the debris field. Metallic fragments, some bearing traces of exotic alloys unknown to standard galactic registries, drifted in a carefully orchestrated dance. A sudden energy signature erupted on the scanner. Rowan leaned forward, his weathered hands gripping the navigation controls. "What do you make of this, Sentinel?" The AI's neutral voice responded, "Anomalous energy reading. Biological markers detected. Recommendation, proceed with caution. An unexpected discovery." Rowan maneuvered the salvage vessel closer, his suit's protective systems humming to life. The outer airlock revealed a compressed section of what appeared to be a ship's emergency pod. Its hull was scarred, burned in places, but still structurally intact. "Life support systems minimal but functional," Sentinel reported. With practiced precision, Rowan carefully extracted the pod into the vessel's containment chamber. The metallic shell hissed as pressure equalized, revealing 2 figures curled together, survivors, but unlike any species he had encountered before. Their skin was a pale iridescent blue, almost translucent, with delicate neural pathways visible beneath the surface. Thin, elongated limbs were wrapped protectively around each other, their breathing shallow but steady. First contact. "Sentinel, run a complete xenobiological analysis," Rowan whispered, his voice a mixture of caution and wonder. The AI's response was immediate. "Species unknown. Genetic markers suggest advanced evolutionary adaptation. Current physiological state, critical. Estimated time to complete system failure, 72 standard hours." Rowan's mind raced. Salvage operators were not known for their humanitarian missions. The standard protocol would be to report the discovery, collect any valuable technology, and move on. But something about these beings, their obvious vulnerability, the intricate design of their seemingly organic technology, spoke to something deeper within him. "Prepare medical stasis," he commanded. "We're keeping them alive." A decision with consequences. As he began the delicate process of stabilizing the 2 alien refugees, Rowan couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than a simple rescue. The way the pod was positioned, the specific configuration of the debris field, the unique biological markers, everything suggested this was no accident. Someone, or something, had wanted these beings to be found. The larger of the 2 aliens stirred slightly, a soft luminescent pulse emanating from its neural pathways. For a brief moment, its eyes, deep pools of swirling silver, met Rowan's, creating a connection that transcended language, species, or understanding. "What secrets are you carrying?" Rowan muttered, more to himself than to the unconscious beings. Sentinel's voice cut through his thoughts. "Incoming transmission. Unregistered frequency." The screen flickered to life, revealing nothing more than a set of coordinates and a single cryptic message: "Protect them. The convergence approaches." Rowan Sinclair looked from the mysterious message to the 2 alien refugees, knowing his life would never be the same again. Whatever journey lay ahead, it had begun in this moment, in the cold, infinite silence of space. Shadows of survival. An unexpected ally. The research station orbiting the neutron star of the Epsilon sector was not a place that welcomed unexpected visitors. Zara Voss knew this better than most. A rogue xenobiologist whose unconventional research had long since pushed her to the margins of scientific respectability, she was both hunter and protector of the galaxy's most extraordinary secrets. When Rowan Sinclair's encrypted transmission arrived, it carried a frequency that immediately captured her attention. The quantum encryption was unlike anything she'd encountered, a blend of biological and technological signatures that suggested something far beyond standard communication protocols. "Sentinel, decrypt the message," Rowan's voice crackled through the communication array. Zara's fingers flew across her station's interface, bypassing standard decryption algorithms. The message revealed more than just coordinates, it hinted at a deeper mystery surrounding the two alien refugees. The refugees awaken. In the medical bay of Rowan's salvage vessel, the two aliens began to show signs of consciousness. The larger one, whom Rowan had begun to think of as the protector, slowly opened eyes that seemed to capture entire galaxies within their depth. Delicate neural pathways beneath its translucent skin pulsed with a soft, rhythmic light. "Can you understand me?" Rowan asked, his voice careful and measured. The alien's response was not verbal. Instead, a series of complex neural patterns began to form in the air between them, a language of light and energy that defied traditional communication. Zara's voice suddenly cut through the communication system. "Don't attempt direct translation. Those are quantum communication markers, each pulse contains multiple layers of information. A dangerous pursuit." The ship's proximity alerts blared to life. 3 unidentified vessels had dropped out of quantum translation, their signatures masked by advanced stealth technology. These were not casual observers, they were hunters. "Rowan Sinclair," Zara's voice carried an urgent edge, "you've picked up something far more dangerous than you realize. Those refugees are not just survivors, they're carriers of a universal cipher that could destabilize entire galactic power structures." The larger alien turned to its companion, a silent communication passing between them. Their neural pathways began to pulse more rapidly, creating a complex web of light that seemed to interface directly with the ship's systems. Secrets and survival. Rowan watched in amazement as the ship's quantum drive began to recalibrate. It was as if the aliens were rewriting the vessel's fundamental operating parameters, transforming a simple salvage ship into something far more complex. "Who are you?" he whispered. The smaller alien finally spoke, its voice a melodic resonance that seemed to vibrate at the very edge of human perception. "We are the remnant. The last guardians of a knowledge that could either save or destroy everything." Zara's voice returned, filled with a mixture of excitement and fear. "The quantum cipher. It's real. And now it's aboard your ship." The pursuing vessels began to close in. Their weapon systems charged with an energy that seemed to warp the very fabric of space around them. This was no ordinary pursuit, this was an extinction-level threat. The choice. Rowan looked at the two aliens, then at the approaching ships. His hands moved to the navigation controls, a lifetime of survival instincts battling with a newfound sense of purpose. "Sentinel," he called out, "prepare quantum jump sequence. Maximum randomization." The ship's AI responded instantly. "Warning, quantum jump at this proximity carries a 94.3% probability of structural failure." The larger alien placed its hand on the navigation interface. The neural pathways began to pulse in synchronization with the ship's systems. Together, it said, the word carrying multiple meanings, a promise, a threat, a hope. As the pursuing ships locked their targeting systems, Rowan Sinclair made his choice. They would jump, into the unknown, into danger, into a destiny far larger than a simple salvage mission. The universe held its breath. The quantum cipher. Fractured sanctuary. The research station hung like a fragile crystal against the backdrop of a dying neutron star, its exterior a labyrinth of interconnected modules that defied conventional engineering. Inside, the air hummed with a tension that went beyond mere anticipation. It was the quiet before a cosmic storm. Zara Voss moved through the station's restricted zones with the precision of someone who knew every hidden corridor and forgotten passageway. The two alien refugees, now identified as Kale and Lyra, followed her, their movements creating subtle distortions in the ambient light. "We don't have much time," Zara muttered, her fingers dancing across a holographic interface that seemed to react to her neural impulses. "The pursuit won't stop. They'll tear apart entire star systems to find what you're carrying." Rowan Sinclair stood near the station's central observation dome, his salvage operator's intuition fighting against the growing complexity of their situation. The ship's AI, Sentinel, had been partially integrated into the station's systems, a technological symbiosis that blurred the lines between organic and artificial intelligence. The quantum cipher revealed. Kale, the larger of the two aliens, began to unfold a holographic projection that seemed to emerge directly from his neural pathways. It was a map, but not of any conventional space. Quantum coordinates twisted and folded, revealing layers of reality that existed simultaneously. "The cipher is not just information," Kale explained, his voice a harmonic resonance that seemed to vibrate through the very structure of the station. "It is a key. A method of rewriting the fundamental protocols of universal existence." Lyra moved closer to the projection, her translucent fingers tracing complex geometric patterns. "Our people were the Guardians. The last line of defense against a convergence that would unmake everything. Hunters in the darkness." The station's perimeter alarms suddenly blared to life. 3 massive vessels had emerged from quantum translation, their hull signatures unlike anything in known galactic records. These were not simple pursuit ships, they were quantum hunters, engineered to track and eliminate with surgical precision. "They're called the nullifiers," Zara explained, pulling up tactical displays that showed the approaching threat. "A collective of technological purists who believe any advanced form of information manipulation is a threat to universal stability." Rowan checked his weapon, a quantum phase rifle that could potentially disrupt molecular structures. "How do we fight something that can literally erase our existence?" Kale's response was unexpected. "We don't fight. We transform." The transformation begins. The station systems began to change. Walls shifted, becoming translucent and then solid again. Quantum entanglement protocols started to cascade through the infrastructure, creating a defense mechanism that existed in multiple states simultaneously. Lyra turned to Rowan, her eyes now pools of swirling quantum potential. "You were chosen. Not by us, but by something larger. The path of the cipher requires a guardian who exists between worlds." Zara watched in a mixture of scientific fascination and growing terror. The research station was no longer just a structure, it was becoming a living weapon, a quantum fortress that could resist erasure. The cost of knowledge. A massive energy pulse erupted from the approaching nullifier vessels. Normal matter would have been instantly vaporized. But the station, now fully integrated with the aliens' quantum technology, simply shifted, existing in multiple potential states simultaneously. "The cipher," Kale explained, "is a method of survival. Not just for a species, but for the very concept of potential." Rowan felt something changing within himself. The neural interface that connected him to Sentinel was evolving, creating pathways of understanding that transcended human limitation. As the nullifier vessels prepared for their final assault, the station prepared its defense. But this was more than a battle, it was a conflict that would determine the very nature of existence itself. The quantum storm was about to break. Bonds beyond boundaries. The quantum threshold. The research station had become a living entity, its structure pulsing with energies that defied conventional physics. Rowan Sinclair stood at the epicenter of this transformation, his body now partially integrated with systems that blurred the line between organic life and pure information. Kale and Lyra moved around him, their neural pathways creating intricate patterns of light that seemed to weave through the station's very architecture. Zara Voss watched from a secondary observation point, her scientific instruments struggling to make sense of the impossible phenomena unfolding before her. "The nullifiers are not simply pursuing us," Lyra explained, her voice a complex harmonic that resonated through multiple dimensions. "They seek to prevent a convergence that would fundamentally alter the nature of cosmic existence." Memories of extinction. A holographic memory erupted around them, a vivid reconstruction of a civilization long destroyed. Crystalline cities that existed in multiple states, beings of pure energy and thought, all reduced to quantum echoes by a force beyond comprehension. "Our people," Cale said, his voice heavy with loss, "were the guardians of potential. We maintained the delicate balance between what is and what could be." Rowan felt something stirring within him, memories that were not his own, yet somehow intimately connected to his very being. The neural interface with Sentinel had become more than a technological connection. It was a bridge between consciousness and pure information. The human element. Zara's instruments began to track a strange phenomenon. Rowan's DNA was undergoing a subtle transformation, quantum markers appearing that suggested a radical evolutionary leap. "You're becoming a bridge," she whispered, her scientific detachment giving way to a sense of wonder. "Not just between species, but between states of existence." The station shuddered. Outside, the nullifier vessels were preparing for a final assault, a quantum strike that would erase everything within a light-year radius. Unexpected allies. A new energy signature appeared on the long-range scanners. It was unlike anything they had seen before, a collective of technological and biological signatures that seemed to be responding to the station's quantum distress signal. "The resonance," Lyra explained. "Other guardians. Those who understand that survival is more than preservation, it's adaptation." Massive ships began to materialize around the research station. They were not traditional vessels but living networks of consciousness, their hull structures alive with complex neural patterns. The convergence approaches. Rowan felt the full weight of his transformation. He was no longer just a salvage operator. He had become a conduit, a living bridge between human potential and cosmic understanding. Cale placed a translucent hand on Rowan's shoulder. "The cipher is not a weapon. It's a key. A method of understanding that transcends individual existence." The nullifier vessels charged their primary weapon, a quantum disruptor capable of unmaking entire civilizations. But something was different this time. The research station had become more than a target. It was a quantum fortress, a living defense mechanism that existed in multiple potential states. "We fight," Rowan said, his voice resonating with a power that surprised even himself, "not to destroy, but to protect potential." The cosmic storm gathered. The nullifiers approached. And at the center of it all, a transformation was about to begin that would challenge everything known about survival, consciousness, and the very nature of existence. The quantum threshold trembled. The convergence protocol. The quantum battlefield. Space itself seemed to ripple and bend as the combined forces of the resonance and the research station prepared for the ultimate confrontation. Rowan Sinclair stood at the epicenter, his body now a living conduit of quantum potential, bridging the gap between human consciousness and cosmic intelligence. Zara Voss worked frantically at her console, her fingers dancing across interfaces that seemed to breathe and pulse with living energy. The nullifier vessels approached, massive constructs of antimatter and pure destructive intent, their very existence a threat to the delicate fabric of reality. "The convergence protocol is activating," Cale announced, his translucent form now partially merged with the station's quantum infrastructure. Lyra moved beside him, their neural pathways creating a complex lattice of light and information that defied conventional understanding. Echoes of potential. The resonance ships, living networks of consciousness that had answered the station's quantum distress call, began to form a complex geometric pattern. Each vessel was more than a ship, they were collective minds, repositories of knowledge accumulated across millennia of cosmic exploration. Rowan felt the weight of his transformation fully. Memories not his own flooded his consciousness, glimpses of civilizations long extinct, potential futures that existed in quantum superposition, the intricate dance of creation and destruction. "We are more than defenders," Lyra explained, her voice a harmonic that resonated through multiple dimensions. "We are the guardians of possibility. The ultimate weapon." The nullifier vessels charged their primary quantum disruptor, a weapon capable of unmaking entire realities. But something was different this time. The research station had become a living quantum fortress, its defenses far beyond conventional understanding. Zara's scientific instruments went wild. "The station is generating a quantum field that exists in multiple states simultaneously," she shouted over the rising cosmic cacophony. "It's not just defending, it's evolving." Rowan's connection to Sentinel had become complete. He was no longer just a human controlling an AI, he was a living interface between biological consciousness and pure information. The cosmic dance. The first wave of nullifier attacks crashed against the quantum shields. Instead of destruction, something unexpected happened. The energy was absorbed, transformed, redirected into complex patterns of potential. "We do not fight to destroy," Kale proclaimed, his voice carrying the weight of ancient guardians. "We fight to preserve the possibility of becoming." The space around the research station began to fold and unfold. Realities shifted, potential futures flickered in and out of existence. The nullifiers found themselves caught in a cosmic dance where their weapons became tools of creation rather than destruction. The turning point. Rowan raised his hand. A complex quantum signature emerged, part human intention, part alien technology, part something entirely new. The resonance ships resonated with his signal, creating a unified field of potential that pushed back against the nullifier assault. "Humanity's greatest strength," Rowan said, his voice now a complex harmonic that transcended individual existence, "is not in its ability to destroy, but in its capacity to understand." The cosmic battlefield trembled. Realities collided and merged. The convergence protocol reached its critical point, a moment that would determine the fate of multiple universes. And at the center of it all stood Rowan, Kale, Lyra, and Zara, unlikely guardians of a potential far greater than any single civilization could comprehend. The quantum storm was about to break. Echoes of redemption. The final convergence. The fabric of reality itself seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting with the intensity of the cosmic conflict. Rowan Sinclair, no longer fully human but not entirely alien, stood at the epicenter of a transformation that would reshape understanding itself. The nullifier vessels, once perfect instruments of destruction, now appeared fragmented, their quantum structures destabilizing under the combined assault of the resonance ships and the quantum-evolved research station. What had begun as a pursuit had become something far more profound. "We are witnessing the true nature of existence," Kale said, his translucent form now completely integrated with the station's quantum infrastructure. Lyra moved beside him, their combined neural pathways creating a complex lattice of light and information that transcended conventional perception. The moment of choice. Zara Voss watched in a mixture of scientific awe and existential terror. Her instruments were useless now, they could not measure what was happening, only witness it. The quantum field surrounding them was a living thing, a consciousness that existed in multiple states simultaneously. Rowan felt the weight of 1,000 potential futures converging. Memories not his own flooded his consciousness, the rise and fall of civilizations, the delicate balance between creation and destruction, the fundamental truth that understanding was the most powerful force in the universe. "The cipher is not a weapon," he announced, his voice a harmonic that resonated through multiple dimensions. "It is a choice. Transformation of purpose." The nullifier vessels began to change. Their destructive intent dissolved, replaced by something more complex. They were not being destroyed, they were being transformed. Lyra's voice cut through the cosmic noise. Every civilization reaches a moment of choice. Destruction or understanding. Isolation or connection. The space around them became a living canvas of potential. Realities folded and unfolded, showing glimpses of what could be. The resonance ships, living networks of collective consciousness, began to integrate with the nullifier vessels, creating something entirely new. The human potential. Zara watched in amazement as Rowan became the bridge. His human consciousness, merged with Sentinel and the alien quantum technology, represented something unprecedented. Not a conquest, but a connection. Humanity's greatest strength, Rowan proclaimed, is not in its technology, but in its ability to understand, to adapt, to see potential where others see only conflict. The quantum storm began to settle. But this was not an ending, it was a beginning. Echoes of a new understanding. As the cosmic energies stabilized, the research station transformed. No longer a fixed point in space, it became a mobile nexus of potential, a living testament to the power of connection. Kale turned to Rowan, their connection now complete. "You are the first," he said. "Not the last." The nullifier vessels, now transformed, began to disperse. But they were different. No longer instruments of destruction, they had become explorers, seekers of understanding. Zara's final readings showed something unprecedented. The quantum field they had created was alive, a living network of potential that connected civilizations across the universe. The infinite possibility. As the last echoes of the conflict faded, Rowan looked out into the infinite expanse of space. He was no longer just a salvage operator. He was a guardian of potential, a bridge between what was and what could be. The universe held its breath. And somewhere, in the infinite possibilities of existence, a new journey was beginning.